Hi, Promiseland parents. I'm so glad you decided to join us once again for our edition of Real Talk for Right Now. I'm really excited and a little nervous about this episode because we have three Promiseland dads here to talk about their experiences during this coronavirus. We're going to ask them the same three questions that we asked the different groups of moms a couple of weeks ago, and I hope that you will connect with them, dads especially, in a unique way. So I'll have them introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about what life is like for them right now. Josh, do you want to go ahead and start?
Sure. So, hey, my name is Josh. I am a local principal at a high school in the area, and I have four children at home. Three of them are in Promiseland, and one of them attends Elevate. So we have kind of a full house right now with everyone being home every minute of the day.
Yes, and in case everybody didn't hear, he said he's a principal. So all those e-learning questions, don't ask him. No, I'm just kidding. We feel for you, Josh. All right, Davey, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Everybody, my name is Davey. I'm a father of two, Leah's 10 and Josiah's 5. So I've been stuck at home, but it's not very weird to me, but at the same time, you know, being at home 24/7, that's what it's been the last few weeks.
Yeah, and we will hear more about it in just a moment. Austin, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey guys, my name is Austin. I'm a father of what I call 1.5. I've got a 2-year-old and then another boy due in any week now. So yeah, this has been an interesting couple months for us, just trying to be present and make it through it.
Yes. Yeah, and we're so grateful that the three of you have made time to join us. Like I said when I interviewed the moms, we really want this to be an experience for dads listening to feel better about where they're at, to kind of normalize their experiences and make them feel not so alone. So with that, we'll go ahead and jump into the first question, which is, what is the biggest challenge you are facing right now in this season? Davey, can we start with you?
Yeah, I'll be fine. I think the biggest feeling of that I've been receiving, I mean, it's not really an adjustment being at home. It's more of what being at home becomes an adjustment of what's out there. Apart from working full time, I own a business, and that's been a problem as well too, with not having any work for the people who work with me. And then at the same time, I work at Willow as one of the community pastors, one of the section leaders. So the fact of being stuck here and not being able to help as much or as often as I would like to in all those different aspects, it's that overwhelming feeling of helplessness. And in what ways could I do more being at home without having any physical contact, without being present, without really having so many things that are out of my control. So then having that feeling of not being able to do more than I could, and finding comfort in that it's not for me to dictate or control, but what I do is enough. So that's really the feeling of that's been overwhelmingly the last few weeks.
Yeah, well said. I think that the word helplessness is going to resonate with a lot of dads, and that sense of feeling so out of control. I think dads have a different, I mean, moms can feel that way too, certainly, but dads have a different level of pressure. I want to suggest it's heavy in a different way. And so, Davey, when you do feel that helplessness and that sense of being out of control, you mentioned a little bit about, like, you remind yourself of some things. Is there something that you do or say to yourself to get away from that feeling?
What I've managed to do, I think it's consistently creating boundaries within all those different compartments, right, in my life. You know, we have being a dad, having a full-time job, having a business, being a community pastor, all those different things, being able to where they are, and they're all in different levels. So being able to create boundaries between them so that they don't overflow into everything else. Being able to, I mean, I don't have the feeling of helplessness within my home, right, with my wife Melissa, with the kids. It's comfort. It's good. We're very blessed in our home. So, but then when you start looking at other parts of my life, it may not look like that. So then to be able to stay centered in the fact of, okay, there's boundaries and
Yeah.
that's there, it needs to stay there.
Oh, I think Davey's frozen for a second.
That's really what
There he is.
it brings me back to, that sense of, okay, there's boundaries that I need to create, and those boundaries are also putting in the mindset that a lot of things are out of my control. This is going on here, but I can only do so much, and that's where the boundary starts, and it
Yeah.
stops there, and then it just goes from there.
Yeah, that's a really thoughtful answer. I appreciate that, Davey. Austin, we'll move to you. What is your biggest challenge right now?
I think my biggest challenge at this moment probably is similar to a lot of people, kind of getting that work-life balance just right. And with everybody being at home, and in particular, me and my wife both work, so I'm used to kind of having that time to myself, where I do have time to work and get my tasks done, daily tasks, and then also I'm able to shut in a time where everybody's home 24/7, and to try to balance work in, and I forgot to mention before, so I'm trying to balance those tasks and talking to my clients and getting everything done for work, and still be able to spend a lot of time with my family, who I feel do need me in this time, to definitely help out with our little 2-year-old and creating tasks for him, which I never understood as a dad, how much work teachers put into their kids daily, and what that entails, and being a stay-at-home mom or stay-at-home dad, what that really entails, and how much your kids really do need you on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. Oh, again, I think a lot of dads are going to resonate with that. I first want to apologize if Austin, if we all cut out there. I think it's my unstable internet connection that I'm having today. So I apologize to those of you watching if it cuts in and out. But Austin, you mentioned the word balance several times, and you're balancing so many different things. And I remember that somebody told me once that you can never actually achieve balance, that the act of balance is actually the constant adjustment. So if we're constantly adjusting, if we're staying in that place of awareness and changing a little bit here and changing a little bit there, that's the only way we can actually achieve balance. So that's just to say to all of you out there who are adjusting with the times, you're doing it. You're doing the best you can to achieve balance. So thanks for sharing that, Austin. Josh, what's your biggest challenge right now?
You cut out. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh, Josh, sorry. To you, Josh, what's your biggest challenge?
So as I thought about this one, I think our biggest challenge, both myself and our family, has just been what I'll call the collective reduction of our community. And so whether it's my kids who had a school community and had a Promiseland community and had friends in the neighborhood that they are used to spending time with them, and then all of a sudden having that reduced to their family. And my wife has the same thing. I had the same thing, whether it's a work community, the community of guys I have at Willow, going from the normalcy of doing that every week and having that community every week in person to immediate not having that in person. I think probably the biggest challenge for all of us individually as a family.
Yeah, that's a word that we haven't heard yet today in this conversation, is that lack of community. And it hits us all on a different level. And I appreciate you pointing out that it hits every member of your family at a different level too, which I would imagine as a dad, you want to fix it. You want to get your kids back with their friends. You want to make sure your wife can go to work again like she used to, so she can see her coworkers. Do you feel any pressure about that?
I think dads always want to fix stuff, right? Going to the hardware store and fixing stuff, or whether it's fixing the issues that are going on. So that's certainly there. Trying to talk, whether it's just talking through that, or whether it's talking about the unknown of when are we going to have face-to-face in-person community again, and trying to explain that to a 9-year-old, or whether it's I think one of the things for me personally as a dad was I didn't realize the communities, necessarily the strong communities that I had and how much they meant to me until they're taken away. And so
Wow.
that was something I feel like I probably took for granted a little bit before this.
Yeah.
And certainly I think I'm learning that I need to be a little more intentional and engaged in that after this.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that.
Can I add to something to that? But it's a little on a flip side.
Yeah.
Yes, of course, community. It's been something major. I mean, I've been a section leader for almost 4 years, so that's part of how I'm wired, right? To be able to help people create community. But one of the things that we realize is actually a little bit of the opposite. Community has been vital in our lives, but at the same time, us being people, that's who we are. We found actually some sort of at times relief and a breather, because we have been so fully invested with people consistently, that for us it has become a time of we're actually breathing. Like it feels at times nice not to have a commitment. It has felt nice not to have to be at church all day on Sundays. So for us, I mean, as a family, of course, every family is different, but for us, since our life has been community consistently in and out as part of who we are as people, as who we are as a family, as who we are as our roles leading a community, we've actually been able to find breathing room and in not having to have those commitments. So
Yeah.
so it's a little different for us, but it's we've actually been able to enjoy it recently.
Thanks for sharing that flip side, because you're right that we're all in different places right now. And so I appreciate you sharing the other side of that. The next question, I was a little bit unsure if it was a good question or not. And the dads here said, let's just ask it and see how it goes. So I would like to know, how are you caring for yourself right now? Austin, can we start with you? And maybe
Yeah.
you're not caring for yourself, and that's okay too.
No, yeah, I think for me particularly, I like to stay busy. I like little tasks. So what I've been doing every day, which my wife's been helping out as far as giving me some ideas of what the house needs, what little chores. I built a outdoor patio set. It was one of the first things on her list. So I took the YouTube, got the tools, got things together, built that. Now I'm at Home Depot again, which is why I'm outside, waiting in the queue for some sod and some outdoor equipment.
Now, Austin, I asked about self-care, and this sounds like a lot of work, but is this also self-care?
That's my self-care. If I can keep myself busy, keep my mind busy, work with my hands, that's really what keeps me leveled. So that really is what my self-care really looks like. But also this last week with the Bulls documentary going live, that's been probably another perk that's helping a lot of dads out there. So I've been watching that and looking forward to the next one on Sunday.
Fantastic. And if Diana does run out of projects for you, please give me a call. Josh, how about you? How are you caring for yourself right now?
I think I've tried to find just different ways to do it than before, but one of the big ones that's helpful for me now is exercise, which I really didn't have a lot of time to do before because work was busy and family was busy. And now, as Davey said, there's a little bit more time and a little less other things pressing on us. So I've been exercising a little bit, which is helpful and kind of reduces the stress. And then trying to carve out in every day just a little bit of, I don't know if you want to call it chair time or just time when there's not a third grader asking me for help with math and there's not a seventh grader asking me for help with something else. And, there's not a honey-do list working around the house. So maybe taking 15 minutes to a half hour to just get a little bit of alone time and kind of recenter. And I've found that has really been helpful.
That's great. I've been hearing from so many moms, and they've all been saying they're sick of hearing the word mom, 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 that it almost felt to me like it was unbalanced. But what you're sharing is that, the kids also know the word dad, and they're also calling upon you guys to help too. So both parents are feeling that pressure. So I'm glad you're looking for those moments when you can just be alone and work out some of the stress. Davey, how are you caring for yourself?
Before I do that, it's funny you mentioned that yesterday the kids were playing with Legos, and Josiah was calling out for my name, asking, "Daddy, Daddy, I need your help." And then Melissa, my wife, actually was like, "No, I can help you." So, like, no, you don't need Daddy for this. I can figure it out. So by the time that I went back, she had already figured it out. So
Wow.
it was the other way around. So it's like they know who to call for what. And at that
Mhm.
point, for that Lego piece that was stuck, they needed me to pull that out, you know. But Melissa
Oh.
was like, "No, I can do it." So it was like, but yeah, it goes the other way around too. You know, they call Melissa too much and like, "Oh, call your dad. He's still here."
Yep.
So it's, you know, it's having the small groups consistently, and the coffee connects we've been having every weekend. It was the very first question and the very first virtual connection I had by someone. How do you care for yourself? And then I realized that is related to the question we had earlier about creating those boundaries and having that space. And I realized that the way that I've been able to care for myself is a little bit opposite with Austin. Is by not being busy, being a family, all that kind of stuff. Already busy, and then I'm already a busy guy. I want to do something. I'm always trying to find myself having to throw these ideas in the back burner and saying, okay, this is a great idea, but I'm gonna throw it in the back burner. So that has been one of my what is that word called? One of my side view mirror things. It's if I don't catch it on time, I'm gonna end up crash through. It's one of those weaknesses. Let's put it this way.
Yeah.
Being able to become too busy. So being present has been helpful, and being present in that specific moment. So you know, like for example, if Josiah wants me to help him click a Lego because it's stuck, then just taking that 1 minute and be fully present that 1 minute right there,
Mm.
not having to have like trying to find a way to create those boundaries, to close everything out and stay present. Whether it's I'm here with you guys right now, for example, right? I have my computer open up here, two big screens next to the screen, and there's work right there.
Mm.
But I'm not looking at those. I'm fully present right here, right now, on what the conversation is like. Being able to be fully present on whatever moments there is right there and there,
Yeah.
because by those boundaries that I've been creating, right, not letting those leak over. I mean, I have so many other things I could think about at this moment, and I need to consistently create those boundaries, keep them, and being present in the moment
Yeah.
right there. So that's how I've been able to care for myself.
Great. And I love that image of the rear view mirror and just keeping an eye on those things that you know might get you off track so that you can catch them before you crash. That's a great metaphor. Now, I have to admit that I was nervous that this conversation with dads would be too short because I was stereotyping dads. And what happened is we don't even have time for the third question because we've been getting such great insights from you dads. And actually, I do think you've answered the third question in many respects, which is what's working for you or your family right now. And you've all given us some really practical tips of things that are working for you. So I just want to say thank you for being present here, for making the time to meet with us. I know it's really going to help everyone who listens to it. I think moms who listen to this are going to get great insights as well about their better halves. I also want to mention that at Willow Creek, we have some great opportunities for dads to connect with each other. One is called Base Camp, and that is a virtual meeting that's happening right now for men to encourage and strengthen and inspire each other. And if you're interested in that, you can contact Dave Liefeld. I'll give his email address in a minute, but also we have other small groups for men. So if you're interested in any of those small groups or specifically the Base Camp experience, please email Dave Liefeld at DLIEFELD@willowcreek.com. So it's D Liefeld, LIEFELD @willowcreek.com. And I just want to thank the Promiseland parents for joining us again. Thank you for sticking with us even during my unstable internet connection. And I hope you'll join us next time for Real Talk for Right Now.